This is Dr. David D. Schein for Saving America, a week in review as the war in Iran enters week 2 with skyrocketing gas prices. Spring break has arrived and the Democrats' shutdown is causing long lines at airports. And the economy lost over 90,000 jobs in February. One of them, of course, Kristi Noem. Let's take a closer look at those and other hot stories. Impact of the war in Iran. The level of damage done to the military infrastructure of Iran is nothing short of amazing. Reports are that over 60% of their missiles and air attack capacity is gone. Their Navy of about 30 ships is gone, as is their Air Force. Sadly, we also have 7 American military dead and about a dozen dead in Israel. The Iranians, lacking all common sense, have sent missiles and drones into about a dozen other countries with little regard to civilian casualties, although you hear the slopstream media lodging false accusations that American allied forces are hitting civilian targets frequently. Actions of Iran has sealed them off from just about any neighboring country that might have provided them some quarter. The current regime is doubling down on being dunces. They just made the Ayatollah's son the new supreme leader. This guy has never had a position in government before and apparently was stupid enough to accept this suicide mission. On the other hand, if he plans to stay alive, he may consider a truce with the U.S., right? Reminds me of that Bee Gees song, Staying Alive, Staying Alive. It is critical that America and Israel continue to degrade the air defenses and launching capacity of Iran so it can no longer damage the U.S. or its neighbors. Unfortunately, market sentiment went wild with the news causing oil prices to basically double in about a week. But that is mostly caused by insurance companies pulling back policies. It has little to do with supply. I am confident that once the war proceeds just a little further, the pinch on the critical Strait of Hormuz will be resolved and prices will drop back to near pre-war levels. As it stands, more than 20% of global oil and liquefied natural gas exports of the world passes through that strait. Given the precision bombing and degradation of Iran's offensive capacity, it should only be a short time before they are unable to attack traffic on that strait. Extremist cells have begun to reveal themselves, so there are some immediate risks here in the United States. In addition to the Islamic terrorist attack in Austin, Texas, there were 2 ISIS-inspired terrorists who threw some IEDs near a protest in New York City. Fortunately, the devices were neutralized and the criminals arrested before anyone was hurt. The story so far is that these 2 radicals were trying to cause more deaths than the 3 deaths at the Boston Marathon in 2013. The disgrace of a mayor in New York claimed that it was due to an attack by white supremacists, despite clear evidence to the contrary. I hope the citizens of New York will wake up and recall him before he does more harm to the city and the country. All Americans must be watchful of terrorist activities due to suspected Iranian sleeper cells that infiltrated this country during the Biden-Harris administration. Our law enforcement needs a watchful civilian population to report suspected risks. Remember, see something, say something. That's not just a slogan, but critical advice to keep our citizens safe. If you've not done it yet, like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Dr. Dave Saves America. Spring break with TSA unfunded. The Dems shut down the Department of Homeland Security weeks ago to protest ICE taking action to protect Americans from criminal illegals. Ironically, ICE was funded separately, so the one thing they are protesting is not shut down. However, FEMA, TSA, and the Secret Service are currently operating without funds. Reports of delays exceeding 5 hours at Houston's Hobby Airport, a hub for Southwest Airlines, with similar delays in New Orleans, hit with the start of spring break. As well, tornadoes ripped through the Michigan and Oklahoma states, killing 8. But due to the Dems, FEMA is not able to help in the recovery. Trump gave the Dems a big gift in firing Kristi Noem at the DHS. Markwayne Mullin, currently a GOP senator from Oklahoma, has been nominated to replace her. Noem is supposed to go to some new position regarding America's relationship with the South American countries. Mullin seems to be popular, but the Dems have continued their ridiculous list of demands in order to reopen DHS. I do believe this may cause the end of the filibuster for the GOP to move forward. News came out that Noem's recent issues just made her too toxic for her to stay in the high-visibility role at DHS. This included a $220 million ad campaign that featured her telling illegals to get out of the country, her premature comments on the Preddy shooting in Minnesota, and her recent contentious appearance before the Senate added to the push to get her out. My advice, the Dems need to take the win here and get the government open. This has to be a campaign plank for the GOP in the critical November elections. The February jobs report is terrible. This is major bad news on the jobs front. America needs about 150 to 170,000 new placements a month to keep the job market healthy. Instead, the report is a loss of over 90,000 jobs. The unemployment rate also clicked up a little from 4.2 to 4.4. While some of this can be blamed on AI, the jobs market has been soft since 2024. Job hunting has been tough for a while, even before the recent AI boom. And it looks even worse now with AI reportedly reducing slots for mid-level white-collar workers as well as some manufacturing and warehouse workers. Major layoffs have been announced month after month. Not all the layoffs are blamed on AI. The retail and restaurant segments of the market have also been struggling. On prior episodes, I've reported on the incredible number of closings from drugstores to supermarkets to restaurants and fast food chains. More bad news for the federal budget. The federal government has continued to run a deficit despite Trump in the White House with control of both houses of Congress. While reports are that the feds have reduced employment, the body count is still dramatically higher than it was 10 years ago. How is this possible? Now the chickens have come home to roost. Not only did SCOTUS rule against Trump's implementation of tariffs, but the lower courts followed that with orders that the feds begin refunds now, not later. This is a major blow, as the projections are that as much as $200 billion in tariffs may have been collected. The big corporations are going to eat it, and the consumers are going to get screwed as usual. That's my prediction. My other concern is that I support retaliatory tariffs. It makes no sense for us to let foreign products in here with minimal tariffs and countries around the world, including Canada, India, and the EU, charge ridiculous tariffs on inbound goods from the USA. Trump just did it the wrong way, according to SCOTUS. Gamblers get no payout on the Ayatollah. An audience member asked me to comment on the report that an app called Kalshi will not be paying off those who wagered on Khomeini's death. The site gives players a chance to gamble on various events around the world. The amount in question is $54 million. The site's defense was that it was not good policy to pay off for deaths. The site further explained that they posted that Khomeini would no longer be supreme leader, not that he would be killed to get to that outcome. So rather than paying off, they are refunding the money in the pool or something like that. I know some of the parties in the pool were pretty upset in that they were looking at nice payoffs. On the other hand, I can see the principle behind not betting on someone being killed or dying. However, it does appear that the folks at Kalshi could have done a better job of structuring the deal involved here. As someone who does not gamble, I have no interest in these online gambling sites. However, I also know that millions of dollars are flowing through these sites every year. Perhaps there needs to be some regulation like there is of traditional brick and mortar casinos. So you think AI is weird? Just as we are adjusting to AI, which swept in fairly quickly for most of us, we now have quantum computing on the horizon. The mega ability of this new generation of computers will make all present computers, even the so-called supercomputers, look like a horse and wagon days. At least that's the prediction. On the positive side, the incredible power of these computers could help find the cure for cancer. At least that's what their advocates claim. Now, on the downside, we're already hearing that AI programs can hack computers and run cyber attacks at an incredible rate and can do so without human intervention. Imagine the world with the next generation of computers. So no passwords, no encryption would protect our computers. That would mean no bank accounts, no private information could be protected. The other downside, which we're already feeling with AI, is that data centers are outrunning the electric capacity of most grids in the U.S. Now the companies building data centers are beginning to build their own electric power system. At least we hope they are doing that. Now imagine the power demands of quantum computers. Justice upside down in Maryland. In a story that sounds more like a third world country than the United States, a judge has ordered the eviction of half the residents of a condominium complex in Prince George's, Maryland, which is a suburb of Washington, D.C. In this crazy story, about 2 years ago, homeless people set up a camp behind the condo complex. By late 2025, apparently they did enough damage to the boiler, also behind the complex, that it caused the heating system for part of the complex to fail. Instead of the county taking responsibility for not removing the camp before the vagrants did that damage, the county got a judge to evict about 100 of the residents. Yes, the people actually had the right to be there are being evicted. To add insult to injury, the county has reportedly delivered food to the camp. Further, local police have not taken any action to arrest the wrongdoers, which may include drug dealers as well as others committing illegal activities. Part of the challenge is that in a condo association, the residents have to pay for capital repairs in addition to normal maintenance. The association in this case claims that it does not have the money to make the repairs required by the damage done when the people in the camp caused a fire that damaged critical infrastructure of the condo complex. When you hear stories like this from a blue state, it helps to understand why people are moving to red states like Texas and Florida. I don't think the story above would happen in most parts of those states. $1 million verdict in a detransitioner case. We have heard some strange stories from the years under the Biden-Harris administration promoting trans procedures for children as young as kindergarten. My position's been consistent. No for children, but adults can make their own decisions. Part of the reason for my view is that I have had kids and now have grandchildren. They're kids. They do not have the perspective of adults, nor should we expect them to get there before adulthood. In any event, I've been expecting just what happened in court recently. A 16-year-old woman had her breast removed as part of a transgender procedure. As an adult, she has now sued the psychologist and surgeon for medical malpractice. She won a $2 million jury verdict in a 3-week trial in a New York court. This type of verdict could put the final nail in the movement to transition minors in the United States. Dementia risk reduction through music. I found an article recently about reducing dementia risk through music. It is certainly no secret that our population is aging. Research reports seem to come out weekly that predict that a significant percentage of that aging population will suffer from dementia, earlier or later. We have heard that being involved in various activities and having people around you may help delay its onset. None of us like the prospect of living out our golden years without really enjoying them. Certainly none of us want to be a burden on our families. I saw a recent report about music delaying dementia and decided to review some of the research on the subject. Possibly playing instruments or just enjoying music may help. A study published in the International Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry found that playing an instrument was associated with a 35% lower risk of dementia. Those who reported always listening to music had a 39% lower risk and scored better on overall cognitive and memory tests. These are some big numbers in terms of improvement versus the devastating impact of dementia. In reviewing other studies, there's a growing body of evidence that all different forms of leisure activities keep the gray matter active and seem to contribute to a reduced risk of dementia. Hey, I'm a news junkie, and I hope that keeping my brain occupied with the world happenings and analyzing them will have a parallel effect to listening or playing music. This is Dr. David D. Schein. Thanks for joining us for Saving America's Week in Review. Hey, listen, if you like the show, please come over to our YouTube channel and like and subscribe the content we appreciate. That's YouTube at Dr. Dave Saves America. Now, let's all go out and consciously get along with our neighbors. Let's reduce the violence and discord in our wonderful country. This is Dr. David D. Schein. Thanks for joining me for this special edition of Saving America. Remember, a new Saving America show is aired on the Brushwood Media Network every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Listen on any of the 16 network stations, Apple or Google mobile app, Apple CarPlay, TuneIn, Smart Speaker, and all smart TVs. Find more information at the brushwoodmedianetwork.com. Please be sure to join us each week. We welcome and love your feedback from our growing audience.